Ciao, thanks for watching Doing Life with Jenny. I just got back from spending 3 weeks in Mexico and I almost died 3 times. Today I'm telling you all 3 of those stories. Story number 1. I just got to Pachuca from Mexico City, and therefore I had my backpack and my suitcase. If you didn't see the previous video, I'd tell you what exactly I packed. It wasn't much, so it wasn't like I was carrying around 50 pounds of luggage with me. But according to Google Maps, I could walk from the bus station to my Airbnb. So I looked at the map for a minute to study it, and I started walking. And then, as I usually do, I put my phone away just to risk not being robbed and to also save the battery. Walk for a bit, and then I take out the phone again just to make sure I'm still going in the right direction, because Google Maps sometimes just doesn't recognize what direction you're going for whatever reason, and it looks like you're going the right way, and then suddenly it says, no, it was the opposite direction. Guess what? This was one of those situations. So I turned around and literally walked the opposite direction. Again, took it out later to check, and I was still going in the right direction. So eventually I arrived to the entrance to the subdivision, and I see that basically the Airbnb is on top of a mountain, and I'm not exaggerating, okay? I'll try to insert a picture, but I don't know if you can tell on the camera how the incline is, okay? Before I continue with my struggle up the mountain, let me say I live in St. Louis, Missouri, where the elevation is practically 0. It's not 0, but practically 0. The elevation of Pachuca is almost 8,000 feet. I'll put meters on the screen just in case you're not from the US. Okay, so it's already almost 8,000 feet, and then this is extra because it's on top of a mountain that's already highly elevated. So I am struggling to climb up this mountain with my luggage. At some point I just couldn't, I had to stop and sit down on the sidewalk. I just didn't care. I just couldn't breathe. So I sat and relaxed for a few minutes. This cute little pup came to check on me, petted her for a few minutes, and then I'm okay, I think I'm halfway there, I can do this. So I continued, and a few minutes later, I'm I just can't do it, but I just have to keep going. So I powered through, made it to the Airbnb. As soon as I got into my room, I just sat and turned on the fan, and I just couldn't for a few minutes. And eventually I recuperated after about 20 minutes. But usually I don't feel the effects of the high elevation in Mexico. The only time I do is if I'm walking uphill, or if I'm doing something extra, like climbing stairs, just walking on flat ground, no. If I'm going out dancing, then yeah, maybe I can feel it a little then too. Say that short people adapt better to high elevation, so bonus points for being 5'2". So I survived the climb up Mount Everest to my Airbnb. Second time I almost died. In the Airbnb, trying to take a shower. Okay? The Airbnb was beautiful, completely remodeled, modern. In the shower, they had a couple of dispensers, one for soap and one for shampoo. But the buttons were kind of hard to press. So my finger wasn't really cutting it. So I'm okay, I'll just use my body weight. So as I was pushing in with my body weight to get the shampoo out, my feet slipped out from under me. And it wasn't just whoa. It was smack, dab, hard fall onto the tiled floor. But it wasn't that I just fell hard. Hardly, is that a word? Because it needs to be an adverb. I don't know if hardly is a word though. I mean, I know hardly is a word, but that means barely. Can I say hard, how I fell hardly? Anyway, that's a different lesson. So I just didn't fall. Once I hit the ground, I span around. I ended up with a huge bruise on my knee and an even huger bruise on my hip. That they were both there for a while. I never did see if I had one on my elbow or not, just because I need a camera or a mirror to see it. Yeah, but that did hurt. I seriously thought I broke something in there, but I did not. But if I would have hit my head that hard, like, I would have been gone, guys. Mexico is so dangerous. So I was fortunate enough to survive that second scenario so that I could experience yet another near-death experience, this time in Mexico City. So I was walking through Mexico City, going to meet my friend who's from Guatemala. And I'm a 36-year-old adult, so you would figure I would know how to cross the street. But Mexico doesn't have just your average streets, okay? Most of the stoplights do have the little pedestrian people pictured, so you know when to cross, when not to cross. They even take it a step farther, and they tell you how long you have to cross, or even how long you have to wait before you can cross. This particular intersection did not have those, but again, I'm a 36-year-old adult. I know how to cross the road, so I thought, okay? The problem is, not all roads in Mexico are created equally, okay? It wasn't that this lane kept going straight and this lane kept going straight the opposite direction. No. It was that this lane of cars and this lane of cars did a little switcheroo in the intersection. So when I looked right and I looked left and then I looked behind me to make sure nobody was turning right, that wasn't good enough, okay? I didn't know to look for these guys swerving here in the middle of the intersection where I was crossing at. And I almost got killed by 2 motorcycle riders. Yeah. Because about halfway in the road there was a median or a sidewalk, so you can cross this half of the traffic, wait, check both ways again and cross the other half. No, because it didn't do any good because these guys were coming across this half. Now I know. I had seen that before, but it just still didn't register how to check the traffic with this. I still wasn't used to it. 100% my fault. But yeah, Mexico is so dangerous. Guys, almost died 3 times in 3 weeks. Can you imagine once I lived there? Of course, this video is trying to be a little sarcastic because a lot of people, when I tell them I'm moving, they're like, oh, but isn't it so dangerous? No, you have to be careful like you would in any country or in any major city, but I feel very safe there, even safe as a single female walking around. You're not just getting robbed or shot at as you walk down the street, okay? I do have a video on traveling safely, which I'll link in the description box below. You should check that out, especially if you travel alone. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and be careful when you're out there traveling this summer.